very exciting, interesting. We'll,
Oh, that.
we'll have, Lisa Cassette and Greg Lutz, consultant
That's all your stuff.
Oh, thank you.
through us for the Central York Strategic Planning. So,
Yeah, oh, we're up there with the after.
it's all yours.
Oh, it's all, okay, my goodness, yeah. All right.
Where's your hat?
Oh, there we go. Okay. So thank you for having us. We just wanted to touch base. It was really nice to get to connect with each of you individually to do the interviews. That was a great chance to have a chat. And for those who we didn't have a chance, thank you for sending in your well thought out feedback and answering the questionnaire. You passed the test. Everybody got a gold star. But we wanted to touch base because it's been a while on what we've been up to get ready for our session. So just to get started, so just give you a project status update. We'll just go through a little bit on the objectives and the approach. Then we want to present to you the themes. Okay, so what were the themes and results that came from the interviews? Because that kind of helps us all prepare for the strategic planning session. Want to run by you the draft agenda. So what is it going to look like next Saturday when we spend the day together? How are we going to do that to do our strategic plan? We have a draft plan for the open house. So we're going to kind of show you what we've done and worked on for that. And then the project deliverables and timelines, just so you know that we're staying on track and keeping you guys informed. And then questions and next steps, so feel free. We want this to be interactive. Greg and I are going to switch off. And so jump in and ask any questions. So I'm on project objective. Well, we've already gone through the project objectives. Are you click, or do we click, or do we need to click, or are you guys following along? Okay, so you can switch to project objectives. So again, just to reiterate, we presented this to you guys before, so we're here to develop the, help you guys co-develop the 2025-2030 strategic plan for Central York rural community. We're engaging you guys and staff in a discussion that's going to highlight the common goals and priorities and an understanding of how to deliver the strategic plan. We're going to validate and reconfirm your mission, vision, value statements. And of course, we're going to engage, more importantly, engage the citizens of Central York rural community in the strategic planning process through our community open house. So those are our objectives. So what have we been up to? Greg and I have done a documentation review of everything. We completed the interview questionnaire, as you all saw, and conducted 11 interviews. So we did mayor and council and of course 2 additional stakeholders that were identified. We summarized the themes from the feedback from all the interviews and rolled everything up. And then we've drafted an agenda and outline of the workshop. We've conducted a SWOT, what we call a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threat, and a SOAR analysis. Greg will walk us through that based on the interviews and preparation for the workshop. And then we've prepared the invitation and pre-reading materials for the strategic planning session. So we will be sending you guys, besides the draft agenda, if you're okay with it, we'll be sending you some pre-reading materials as well too to help. And then we're going to...
assume there'll be some keeners who
Will
like to
already
read extra stuff.
Yes, what I'm assuming,
And then
yes.
some people don't, and that's fine too.
Yes, that's
It's
right.
not mandatory,
Yeah,
like
reading,
there won't be a quiz
yeah,
necessarily
yeah,
when we get together.
true,
Some people like more.
yeah. And then we want to talk about the open house and get your thoughts on that today too. So we'll keep going. So we're in the middle part of the phase, so we're into the data collection engagement phase of the project. Keep going with that, and then that's it. Any questions on any of that? Well, I know I flew through that a little quick, but
Does this all seem familiar?
it's all seemed familiar, yeah. Okay, and so I'll pass it over to Greg.
Okay, well, I'll talk a little bit about the interviews and what we think came out of that. So this is actually our first test. We get tested too as we go through. As Lisa mentioned, you know, we had 6 one-on-one interviews with folks around the council table, and a couple folks weren't able to do that, but we get written submissions, so people did do their homework, so that was awesome. That was very much appreciated. And then we met with Duncan, and there were a couple extra folks that were recommended to us to meet with, and we did that too. So overall, all that does, it helps set we get an understanding, what's been happening in Central York since it started to become a rural community, what's on your mind, you're sharing with us what you're hearing from the folks in your wards or across Central York, and so that we have an idea of what we're, what we're walking into, what we might want to try to accomplish together. So we can customize, the workshop that we'll do together on the 22nd, and that will lead to the overall public open house. So there is a point to it, and it's been good. We go to the SOAR analysis. Lisa mentioned SWOT. SOAR is just another, I don't know who comes up with these things, I really don't. We did kind of like this one because it's, SOAR is like SWOT, but it's more on the positive side. And where you're a fresh, new rural community, you're starting. Pretty fresh and new rural community, everybody that we talked to really had pretty much a positive attitude about what's gonna happen in the future here. You're hopeful that people are gonna come together from all the different corners and all the different boards and try to create something. I would say, looking at some of the other new municipalities and rural communities that were created after local government reform, not all of them are off to a great start, but this one certainly is. Because you guys were so positive when we met with you, we thought, well, we'll do the SOAR analysis, which is strengths, opportunities, aspirations, and results. So in terms of strengths, this was almost universal. Everybody, talked about the community identity and the assets that you have within Central York. It's very much a rural area, and people are proud of that, and that's something that people want to maintain. You have all the natural attractions, you have Crown Mountain, you've got Mactaquac, et cetera here. It's a strong area for recreation, and recreation for us means building community. Those are the recreational opportunities that you have with your trails and the people that like to do outdoor stuff. Those are opportunities for people to get together, and that's how you build or continue to build your community. You have strong governance and public services. You come together as a team very well. There's economic and tourism potential on a small scale. I think everybody recognizes that it's a great place to be, but you're not expecting this to become the next Las Vegas or anything like that, nor would you want it to be, right? But how can you kind of work together with the businesses and the people in this community to kind of build a little bit on what you got? And your community engagement and identity, the fact that you're doing the strategic plan now, you want to have the open house, you are engaging with your community, and that will help to build a little bit of what the story is for Central York. I'll stop there. Is there anything blatantly missing from this list of strengths that you would have thought would have been there? There doesn't have to be.
Everyone's good so far?
Okay, that's good. One-on-one, everybody's quite chatty, but I think when they get in a group, they're a little bit more quiet. Maybe there was so much talking earlier. We switch over to the opportunities. Some of the things that came up, obviously, again, you're a new community, so obviously you have opportunities to enhance public services, because essentially you were starting from, the most basic level possible. Couple things that came up, and these are not necessarily things that as a group or with your community you're gonna make part of your strategic action plan, but things that came up, how can we connect people or create connections for transportation in the area, especially for like seniors that need to get into town for doctor's appointments or whatnot. So that's an opportunity to explore, continuing to build on your recreational facilities, right? That one came up in almost pretty much every conversation. We heard that tonight too, with the presentation of the awards. Look at those volunteers that were receiving the medals tonight. A lot of them had the connection to your recreation facilities. Economic and sustainable development. What are some opportunities to support your small businesses in town? And that's something you already started. We've got the listing of all the businesses and all the people that provide services in the area. That's one of the first things that was created here, so that gives us an indication it's probably supportive if somebody wanted to come to our community and, you know, open up some more accommodations or a restaurant. Those would be some opportunities. In terms of government strategic leadership, you know, there was, this came out in a few of the conversations too, you know, try to continue to improve the way that you're communicating, your lines of communication, so you started a newsletter on occasion, that's good, right? You have a Facebook, you do Facebook messages, you get the website, continue to build on that, but it still came across, I think, based on some of the conversation, folks felt we could probably do a little bit more on that. That's a struggle in any rural community in New Brunswick, right? Cause you don't have like a local radio station where you can go on, you know, maybe the mayor could start a podcast or something like that, but like the Carr Brothers, you know, they could have his own podcast or something. We'll see what you wanna do with that. And then as new, folks around the council table, you know, would there be opportunities for further training, just so you can, a couple of folks mentioned, you know, we'd like to get better at what we're doing, and understand the job better, cause it's new, it's still new.
Just to give you a point on that, Greg, I had a note from Dan Murphy of UMNB,
Yeah.
and Dan is trying to get $250,000 for 2 years in a row for the brand new communities that had coming, and part of that is for training and development of councils in the community. Whether he gets it or not, I don't know, but he's lobbying on behalf of brand new municipalities, so.
Yeah, they're very active, like, I kinda see them in the news all the time, so that's a good sign. And that's, again, that's not just a Central York thing.
No,
A lot of the new communities are,
we're looking for.
especially the new councilors who've never been on council before. They're like, okay, I've been doing, now that I've been doing this for a year or two, I kind of understand it. Now I wish I could go back and do the orientation again and pick up more stuff. So that's an opportunity. And then infrastructure development, again, this came up in a few of the conversations. Very cautious, very tentative. Folks kind of recognize that if, you want to someday down the road have like a seniors complex in Central York, a developer's not necessarily gonna come here and build one unless there's some sort of, infrastructure that they can connect to, right? But as a community, I didn't hear anybody saying, well, we better rush out and build a lot of infrastructure, you know, so it's out there maybe as a further down the road opportunity, but certainly folks need to recognize it might be something that will happen. Are these ringing true so far? Good. Get some nods. So far, so good, Lisa, we don't have to start the car yet,
It's
we're
running.
right off the mark. In terms of aspirations, so we'll do some more work on your vision, mission, and values, but this is something that kind of came out of the conversation. Let's see if it's ringing true or not, you know, in terms of that vision for Central York, connected, engaged, resilient, rural community, maybe rural community should come first, maybe it should be a rural community, I guess. With a clear strategic direction, and you're building that here, through this process. And a municipality or local government that balances growth and preserves its rural nature and character. That was in all the conversations. In terms of governance and leadership, again, like strengthening a community-driven plan, right? Like, you never have the sense that people around this table thought, well, we're gonna decide everything, we don't want people to be involved, like you're very much representatives, very strong representatives of their boards and the community, and so that's something to build on. And that encouraging council unity and having kind of alignment around the goals that you're gonna set. I think some of that's even a little bit like reaction to, I mentioned, I'm not picking on anybody in any other rural community that might be listening or watching here, but you know, not everybody's off to a great start, but I get the sense here that folks really, they recognize that it's important to have a common set of goals that people can work towards. Keep us on track.
Do you attribute some of the issues from lack of, maybe educating brand new councilors that haven't been into the role before, like these new communities? Is that, would you attribute some of that?
It's hard, right? Like if you've never been a counselor before, which is everybody here.
No, we're all learning.
You don't know what what to expect,
Yeah.
right? So,
And they throw a lot at you all at
there's
once.
a lot of, there's instant, the day you start, it's instant
It's all about
responsibility for
Yeah.
every important service in your community. Police, think about it, police, fire, waste removal, all that stuff. It's
Who's
very
responsible for
important to
what?
people, right?
Right, what levels and
And
what
then
layers,
all this.
right? So, yeah, people have said, you know, we've taken the training, and we took stuff in the beginning, and then some people have said to me, well, it'd be nice if I could go back to those now,
Yeah.
like 2 years later, a year later, revisit them, right?
Mhm.
Because then they'd make more sense to me maybe, or I'd be going like looking at them with a different screen, so there is a lot to it, and people recognize
I
that.
think we've had a bit of a running start. I know our CAO doesn't like to hear this, I beat on it too much, but he has CAO experience from several
Yes.
places, and I think that gives this council
Mhm.
It does,
fresh air and uplifts it.
yes,
I won't say any more to that
Yeah.
degree, but we appreciate what he brings here, so.
and that did come through in the feedback too.
That
We
might have
told
been
them
raised
that.
once or twice, yeah.
We told them that.
We
when
put the
interviewed
slides,
them.
cause we don't want to turn the color of
No.
the sweater, Jones sweater.
Because trust me, we probably could be into some different avenues, but
Yes.
we
Yes.
have guidance.
You do, that's great, yeah. Shows.
And then the last one on results, now this will be stuff that we work together on through the workshops, and as we draft the report, I mean, any plan needs to be based on some results, right? So, things that we heard in the conversation, you'd like to increase participation from the residents of Central York in the municipal decision making, like you said. It was exciting tonight, there were so many people at your meeting that, and what I heard you guys say, it'd be nice if more people came to our meetings, right? Like you want people to be engaged, you don't expect it to be a packed house every meeting, cause some of this stuff is kind of dry, but it'd be nice if people showed up, right? Improved communication, some growth in your local businesses, strengthen partnerships, that's still being sorted out. You're getting to know yourselves, but you're also getting to know your neighbors too, whether that's Manashawak or Nackwick, Millville, or City of Fredericton, whatever it is. Keep working on your public safety, your infrastructure, and your quality of life. Keep building that municipal identity and successful implementation of your strategic priorities would be a key.
One to the community values.
Yeah, and aligned to community values. Of
Important.
course, of course.
Important.
So that's what we heard you guys tell us. Well, people are nodding, so I guess.
It's okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
There's
it
lots
is.
of other little details too, by the
Yes,
way.
yes.
People have lots of interesting, cool ideas. Kind of summary.
Okay. All right, so
All right.
we're good with that and no questions. So this is just, this is the outline or draft agenda and approach for the workshop. And again, we'll be, this is outline what we plan to do and we adjust as we go, right? We read the room, but, so we had said we'd start from 10 to 4. I put location to be determined, but it's gonna be in here, right? Okay, so, yeah, when I sent this, okay? And we'll rearrange things. So we'll start at 10, just to get the mayor and CAO to kind of set the stage and collective direction for the session. And then the presentation of themes, where we've presented them to you today, we'll probably kind of do something, just a little primer, because it'll be next Saturday of what just to get you guys, going with that piece. And then we'll start into the exercises. So we'll start in with confirming the principal statements and mission, vision, values for Central York. So we know you did an exercise already, you've got some, but we're gonna do something a little different with it, just to kind of try to make sure, because I think the feedback you all gave us is, let's take that and maybe make it more practical, so that your principles, mission, vision, values should really speak to you, like you should kind of feel motivated by it and should kind of draw you in. And if those things aren't doing that on that page, then we kind of have to kind of find things that will. So we'll do a little exercise around that to see what we can come up with. And then we'll go into the workshop. We'll do small groups. I'll have you guys divide it up into little tables or whatever. And we'll go through the themes, and we'll send you some pre-reading materials. Just what are some things from maybe the Capital Region Service Commission strategic plan and strategic assessment that might be relevant, you know, cause you guys are planning, you gotta plan collectively like bigger. It's hard to think big, cause, you know, you're going 5 years. So it's sort of like if you're thinking big strategic for 5 years out, you wanna come up with things like, you know, what are things we have to start today to think about so that we reach that in 5 years? So just kinda, we're gonna draw some of that stuff in, Greg and I are gonna meet with, John, just to see kinda what's happening in that world, just to bring that in here for food for thought. Some stuff applies and some stuff won't, but just, as background. And so really, we're gonna start together, to look at, describe what central, rural community looks like in the future. And, we have a way to facilitate that for you guys, and Greg and I'll be sitting and rotating with the tables. And then we'll keep working through that. We'll go through, each group will work on strategic goals or commitments, and then specific action statements. So what we do is, I call it World Cafe style. So the reason I have you in 3 groups is you're each gonna do some stuff, come up with the first set of answers, and then you rotate, and you look at what each other group did, and you build off of that. So it tends, people like it because it goes fast, you're not kinda stuck, you know, doing all the same thing, the 3 groups. You build off each other's, and we rotate it around. So you'll see what it is, when we get through. And we'll continue with that, and we'll move on to the other themes. We'll divide it into different themes, and then we'll develop the priority actions. We'll do a prioritization exercise. So at the end, when you guys have everything up on the wall, we'll have it sticking up on the wall. We'll get everybody to kind of vote, so that we can kind of get out what would be like the immediate things you'd like to see done, what are in the short term, what are the medium term, and what are the longer term goals. So we know this is like a vision or something we'd like to get to, but that's longer term. And what are the things we would want to do in the next 6 months to the first year. So we'll do all that. And then closing remarks from the mayor and CAO, or whoever, you guys can decide who does which one. And yeah, so we're gonna do little breakout groups and switch you around and kind of keep it fast moving. Usually the day goes by pretty fast when we do it that way. And people find it less stressful, because you're not all 3 groups kind of regurgitating the same things. You build off each other, work on certain themes. Yeah, stand up, stretch, move around, like we want it to be very comfortable and, yeah, that kind of thing. So does that, I know I went through that fast, but you'll see kind of what it's gonna be like next Saturday, but is that all right for everybody? Any thoughts? Okay, so it's, yeah, so that's.
They're gonna
planned.
trust us.
They're gonna trust us, yes. And so we will send this out. You have a copy, and there are questions for each of the exercises. So I didn't put them in the slide deck, but there are questions to help you think ahead. Like, okay, what are these things that I have to think about? So that their questions are in there as well.
You already give them homework?
I give homework. I'm sorry. If you don't do it, don't worry. But for those people that
Don't
like
say, don't say that.
don't say that? Okay. Well, at least glance it over. But everybody did their homework. When we met with everybody, you have a very keen bunch. All of you are very keen. So everybody had already written out their answers and thought about it before we met with everybody. So, yeah, but no pressure, no. So this will be what we'll send out, and we'll send out some other materials, just primer. So that, yeah, for the keeners, yes, that like to read stuff in advance. And if you don't, that's fine.
So,
Good. Any questions on that, or concerns, or sound okay to everybody?
Everybody's coming?
Everybody's gonna come? Is
I'm
everybody?
glad on it.
we're down 2 counselors tonight, but I
You think they can
think
make
they
it on
plan
the
on being
22nd?
here, so.
Everybody will be there? Awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
one had a death in their family, and the
Oh,
other
that's too bad.
couldn't get his work schedule altered.
Oh, sorry to hear that, yeah. That's, yeah. Okay. All right. People wanna talk about, okay, so we'll talk about the open house. So this too, we asked, all your feedback on this, and then we kind of put our sort of stuff, some considerations and what we would recommend. So I guess the whole purpose of the open house, first and foremost, is for mayor and council to engage with the residents and communicate your vision and your hopes for the future for Central York, and kind of ask them, you know, what are their priorities, both for the preservation and the growth of the community. Because all of you articulated that very well, that there is you know, it's an important thing to preserve our history, preserve our rural community, our rural way of life, but also recognize that we wanna balance that with doing some things to grow, to further grow our community, but we wanna kinda balance that out. So we wanna engage, the residents and get them involved. This will be an opportunity, for the first, mayor and council Central York. So you guys are kind of a legacy setting, right? No pressure, but you are the very first mayor and council, right? And this will be the first strategic plan of this municipality. So you've got a tall order. So basically, let's bring them in to kind of share information on your roles. So if people haven't come in or they haven't taken time to come and find out what you guys have been doing, they haven't been reading the newsletters, they haven't been, so how do we share information on what is your role as counselors, what have you guys been doing, and then also gather their perspectives. So we want to reach the maximum number of residents, businesses, and community groups, and so we thought, let's do a public survey, okay, that can be shared online, or mail-outs, or distributed, you know, combination by counselors, but I think we thought maybe online might be the best way, or through Facebook or a link, or through your newsletter, and we'll show you an example of that. And then you're giving the opportunity to also, we'll do something in person, but for those individuals that can't come in person or don't want to come in person, they've been given an opportunity to answer the questions online and send it in. So we're going to do both, and we're going to do an advertisement around that. Location is key. And we talked to all of you, we all had a discussion around where, and with Duncan as well, and the mayor, and it should be a central area, and could be hosted by a local community group in terms of the food or the whatever, you know, and an inviting atmosphere, and let's make it warm and inviting. So we're thinking, if you're doing an open house, the suggestion would be we do it like stations, so we would have some stations with some different themes. So we're gonna do that, you'll see what that looks like when we do the workshop together. But we would do stations in different themes, and maybe we'd have counselors that would kind of host depending on your interests. So some of you have interest in public safety, so you wanna do the public safety station, and you wanna stand there, and we wanna kind of give them some information. It's a chance for you guys to kind of say, here's what we've been working on in these areas, but then also engage them in, where should we be going next? What's the priority for you guys? And people could circle around, and they can sit down at the small groups. So we're not kind of gonna do a, you know, stand up at the mic kind of situation. It's more of a go around, have stations, informally go and meet you guys, and get, you know, kind of get the feedback, and get people to sit at tables. And then it's a real world cafe in terms of, you do that for 10-15 minutes, then you say, okay, everybody switch. Now go to another station, and you let people, the public, kind of walk around and choose which station, because some people may not be interested in certain areas, right? They don't want to give feedback on that. Say, I just want to talk about public safety, I just want to talk about tourism. So that's kind of the idea. And then all of you said, let's provide several weeks' notice. Okay, give people lots of advance notice, so when the date is, so people can come and you guys can promote it. And you guys can invite, you know, some key people, key businesses, key leaders, community leaders, volunteers, say, hey, it'd be really good if you came. And then also then the people that can't will have an opportunity through the online survey, okay? And we would facilitate. So we'll have facilitators, and we'll facilitate the conversations at each of the stations, but do it in a more, you know, kind of open housey, invitational way, rather than anything too formal. Did I miss anything there, or I'll stop there?
I'd like to go to that.
You're thinking one open house?
Yeah, that's what we're thinking. And, you know, is that okay?
Well,
Is that?
just asking.
Yeah, we're thinking one, so then the station, invite everybody, because then if they can't come to that and that date, then they can submit their feedback online if they can't attend. But we would give lots of notice, so, like maybe we pick a date at the end of March, the week of March 10th, or somewhere in there, or, you know, give us a chance to kind of pull some of the stuff together. between us after our session next Saturday, and then we'll go. Now, yeah, I think, and then, Greg, I don't know if you wanna, so we kinda got oats up there.
Yeah.
So that's just what we would kinda join us. It's kinda a little mock-up sample of what the invite could
We
look
have
like.
some talented,
Yeah,
people in our firm, so we said, what would an ad look like for,
We could put us
except
a-
for yours, you
yeah,
know? So
we
this
could
is
put
just the
on
mock-up, the details will all change, and we'll have a link or a place on there for people that aren't gonna be able to be there in person, but they'd like to provide feedback, so they'll be able to click on that and go to that survey that Lisa's mentioned.
yeah.
So you're saying that'll be up Friday, February 25th?
No, no, no.
Yes, we're starting.
That date doesn't
No, sorry, don't panic about the date. This is just a mock-up. Yeah, so we'll put March, whatever date you
That's
guys.
a little added thing, so that's
Yeah.
something if you wanna have on your website or, you
Yeah.
know, on your Facebook page.
Facebook.
It makes
Or
it
your
look a little bit
newsletter.
nicer than.
Yeah, different places to kind of advertise, or the counselors, if you guys send stuff out, it's something you can forward, and then we have the link in there with the survey for people to answer, so that, you know, I can't go. Yeah, does that sound like that would work for people? Don't be shy, it's okay.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, sound good?
We're trying to think ahead of
Yeah.
things you might need or.
So after the workshop, we probably decide on the location and things like that and the date, after the workshop?
Yes, I think
Or
so,
after
yeah, we
workshop?
can decide, yeah, I think Duncan's gonna look around and see different suggestions were made, but maybe, you know, a lot of other municipalities have used like their school, like a school or something like that, because that's kinda
You need a
neutral.
big space.
You need a big space if you're gonna do stations, so people can walk around, like, so we need to set up stations
There'll
and
be so many
tables.
people there, you'll need a big
Yes,
space.
so you're gonna have full house, right?
You think there'll be that many people?
I don't know, we don't know.
What have you
You've
had,
got a lot, Peter.
what have you had other places?
I can't remember how many.
I would expect it 50 people. If I was guessing, if we
Yeah.
were,
There
putting
is
down
a-
guesses today, 30, 40, 50 people for
40,
sure. Now, part of that depends on the folks around the table though too,
Yeah.
because as Lisa mentioned, we're talking to folks that, well, if we have lots of notice, then we can
Yeah,
kinda
people said
put
3 or
a
4
touch
weeks
on
needed.
people, we
Yeah.
can mention it to our local businesses, so I'll hope it's gonna be on the high side of that. But most communities, when they do an event like this, is in that range, unless you've done something to really, or there's something happening, not you've done something, there's some sort of an issue that really motivates people to get it.
Or we can fake something just to get people
Yeah.
there
All right.
Create
Create
controversy.
something.
and then relieve them when they get there, oh, that was,
That was
thank you
just
for
to
coming.
get you. Oh, there you go.
You can build a new municipal office.
That's
There you go, yeah. I was gonna use that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can normally count about 1% of the population, so you have about 7,000 folks in
Yeah.
your community, maybe you'll get up to
And
70.
that's still good, yeah.
a lot of it's providing the opportunity.
Well, yes, yes. And through written or in person, right? So doing the
People are at least given the
combination.
opportunity and they choose not to partake, then that is okay, but
Exactly,
appreciate more,
yeah.
more people to do.
Yeah, you get the word out and you offer and that type of thing, then people can't say they didn't know, or they weren't invited or asked for their feedback.
That's gonna happen anyway,
I
people
know.
are gonna say they didn't know anything
People
about
don't
it.
show up. Yeah, it'll happen anyway,
There's a
you'll
lot
put it
going on.
everywhere, yeah. But yeah,
Is there any other big events that week of March that we know of in our area?
yeah, you guys can.
Regionally,
choose the date.
potentially?
Yeah,
I'm
cause
just
March
trying to think
break
if there's
is
a
like the,
specific thing
yeah.
that might be like a,
right,
this was the wrong
That's
night
true.
because of this thing going
Right,
on.
there's
I don't
a
know what
date.
it is, but
Yeah.
if there is.
oh yeah, the dates are, yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
that's just, yeah, those were just
do double
tentative.
check.
But I mean, it doesn't have to be that week of March 10th, if that's a bad week, like you guys
It
look,
may not
I'm
be,
assuming, like, is it a Saturday that you do this, I'm assuming,
Or what,
the open house,
Monday's about the only day that,
In the evening or a
an
Saturday.
evening, yeah. I don't know when,
I'm even wondering 2 locations, but
yeah,
If we're doing it the week of March 10th,
yeah,
March 15th, there is a breakfast at Estes Bridge.
It's not good for us either in the fire department.
okay,
Yep.
see, there you go, so we'll.
Personally, I prefer like a midweek evening,
A midweek evening
I
thing?
like a 6:30 till whatever kind of thing, because,
Okay.
6:30 to 8:30.
yeah, something like that.
Will the public?
Saturdays,
yeah.
people tend to go do their own thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
It's hard unless it's a family activity, it's hard to get people to come to, and I don't feel this is necessarily a bring your
Yeah.
kids to kind of thing, so
no, you wouldn't.
I think we'd struggle on a Saturday or Sunday. But an evening, people will
Okay.
pop out for that.
How about Tuesday?
Tuesday'd be fine, I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't a council week, there's shit
Which
stuff.
would be,
It is a council week.
Or it could be the week after. I mean, you know, I mean, we just targeted, we just mapped out to make sure we get, but it's what you guys think, yeah, what's going on in your community and what works
I was
best that you
thinking,
think you get.
Can we push it to even April?
When it's nicer.
But
Yeah, when it's nicer, yes. It's longer days. That's what I was thinking, but, you know. And just as with maybe the, you know, April, was the April showers bring May flowers, so.
you folks kind of, you folks kind of
Once it
have
starts to
March
get nice, people.
termination of the project, didn't you?
That's so, yeah, yeah, yeah. But
We'll
we're
work at your,
flexible.
we'll work at your pace.
We're
but,
flexible, we'll work at your pace, yeah. Like we were just trying to, yeah, fit in.
The reason I wonder about two locations is, I'm just a little bit timid that people from one main area
Yeah,
may not want to go to this other main area.
okay,
And I think if we just had the one, and I think if we had it in two, I'm wondering if we would get more
more people.
participation. Yes.
That's not part of the quote.
Plus, it's not part of the book.
Didn't know that. I guess I should have, but.
Your friends and neighbors, sort of, and colleagues in Arcadia have kind of gone through this process recently. And they're pretty far flung too, right? They're all the way from Gold Island, the Gagetown, that area. And they had 4 of them, but between the 4, they had 55 show up. They had like 11 or 12 people in
Yeah.
each one.
They didn't,
The benefit of having one
One.
is you're gonna
Together.
have the biggest crowd, and the bigger, you need a certain amount of people for it to be kind of interactive and give
To
people a
make it-
chance to
yeah.
mingle. If you split it up, you're more likely to have 10 or 20 people, and they're gonna say, oh, that was flat.
flat, yeah.
Hmm.
But you got, it's your community, we're not a
Yeah.
shared community.
And it's
And
a
we don't want
message.
you to take heat for this and then.
Yeah. That's right.
Good.
Well, we're offering it online too, right?
Yeah, like the,
So-
yes, online survey, people
Feedback.
can
Online
put the
survey.
feedback online, yeah, as well, in addition to coming in person if you can't come.
And what if they just come and had their suggestion with them and just dropped it off in a box?
They can do
Don't
that
know.
too.
Some people will do that. for
Some
sure.
people will do that.
And that would bring out people out too. Bring your suggestion and drop it in the
That's
box.
right, they can do that too. Yeah, fill out your survey and drop it off in person if you wanna come by and chat with us and drop off your questionnaire, or if you wanna stay and
Or what
discuss
you would
it.
like to see.
Yeah, come
Sorry
and
about
see.
that.
No, no, that's good, yeah.
So what if we had it like midweek, like you're suggesting, and make it known to people at the meeting and every other which way we can, that maybe for the next week, there will be opportunity for people to submit their thoughts, so so that they don't feel, well, I didn't get it done then, I guess I can't do it. If they know there's a week to do it,
Yeah,
if they didn't come, weren't able to come to the meeting,
yeah,
that's fair notice, I think, for input for anybody. You
Yeah.
can't say that they didn't have an opportunity.
yeah.
All that is leaving the survey.
Yeah, we leave, no, we would leave that open, yeah, for sure. We'd leave that open
I should
longer,
have
right?
it
Give
once.
people the time,
Put it
yeah,
in Word,
yeah, for sure, but,
And it's all-
yeah, I get it, it's,
And I see what the mayor's saying with having one
Yeah.
versus two, because the geographic center
Yeah.
of Central York is Birch Corner, and we do have a couple of choices of facilities there
Okay.
between the Lions Club and the school,
right,
and it's about the same distance from all corners, but it doesn't matter where we have it, there'll be somebody that's gonna have struggle saying that's far, or that's not.
Well, we could all go to Prime Matinee.
There you go.
there you go.
That's a nice thought.
Free drinks.
So anyway, that's probably something we could give you a little more info on Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, you
Would
can,
that work?
yes, we don't need answers tonight, you should have said that, let's you guys think about it, and yeah, we have time to think about it, we just wanna start chatting with it and see what you guys were thinking.
We're kinda having the pre-conversation
The
tonight,
pre-conversation,
and we'll have more
yeah,
conversation.
because we know.
Anything else you should tell us this evening?
No, I think
Timeline?
that was it, we got the timeline, as long as that works for you guys, yeah, and then our next steps, so we're gonna, everybody's good with this, we'll be sending this stuff out, the workshop invitations and the pre-reading material, we'll get that together, got that sent to you guys, next week for the workshop, or maybe later on this week, and then, we're gonna keep working away, and, yeah, we, give it some thought, some more about the open house, so you kinda know what our thinking and the plan is for that, and, yeah, however that works best, for people to drop in, or,
Any other
no.
questions to council?
No.
Okay.
So you still have a council meeting?
Yes,
We
or
have-
yes,
we
take
have-
us out.
We have to finish it, I guess. I'd like to thank you people for being here this evening and
Yeah,
trying to bring us up to speed for what we can take in. It's,
don't worry.
we don't try to be, I hope you don't think we're too off base here, but it's all new, like we discussed a bit ago.
Yeah,
It's a learning curve for us all. And anyway, we'll see how things develop on Saturday and thereafter.
we're here to work with you guys on that, so,
Good.
happy to.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Yeah, see you next week.
Thank you, nice having an audience too.
Yes, it was nice, yeah, it's kind of exciting, eh, it was kind of like a big buzz in here. That's what you want for the open house,
Yes, spread the word.
spread the word.
Safe travels.
Thanks.
Thanks.
See you.
Oh, this is my one.
Take your leave.
I know, I'll take that, thanks.
We need a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes of January 28th.
I'll move.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Brownlow,
I'll second.
seconded by Deputy Mayor Forbes. Any questions on the previous minutes?
Just have one note. Under 13D, after my name where it says to amend the motion to keep A-4.1, it should read A-4. Under D, and the amendment.
Noted.
Another one, Mayor?
Yes.
Is councilors in attendance?
Yes.
I'm solicited as deputy mayor and Councilor Brown.
Yes, I have that highlighted. I'm glad you brought it up.
Just correct.
Just a typo.
Yep.
So we need, in attendance, we need those just changed, the deputy mayor and councilors. And then, of course, the A. 13D, just the reading of that, so. Anything else? Okay, all those in favor?
Fine.
Contrary minded, if any, motion carried. Business arising from the previous meeting minutes, do we have any? All good? We have no correspondence, but I do have a letter from the Keswick Valley School. I'll just tell you people a little bit about it. It's, all it is they wanted, they're trying to build a playground for children that are not, they're disabled to some degree. And they've saved a bunch of money toward it, and they're trying to raise more. They didn't ask us for money, they asked us for a letter of support. And I believe our CAO sent that today, correct? Just a letter of support, saying we agree with, it's a good plan, so. Anyway, that's basically what bit of correspondence we have. So committee reports, the committee of the whole meeting minutes from January 28th. If we had a motion to approve those,
I shall move.
moved by Councilor seconder. Councilor Brewer. Errors or omissions, and we have the same error and omission on the attendance, so if we could get that just reversed, it'd be good.
What's the problem? What is it?
Deputy mayor and council need changed.
Oh.
Do we have any other errors, omissions, or questions from the committee? If none, all those in favor? Contrary minded, if any, motion carried. The treasury report is due February 25th. The chief administrative officer's report.
Thank you. Just two quick items. The auditor from Shannon and Buffett will be here on Tuesday, February 18th for the 2024 audit process. And also on Tuesday, I have a meeting scheduled with the city's planning staff to discuss the recreational options for the lot in First Corner.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to accept the CAO report, please?
Also move.
Moved by Councilor Ennis, do I have a seconder? Second. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Brownlow. Any questions? All those in favor? Contrary minded, if any, motion carried. I have a bit of report this evening. I attended the EMO committee on January 29th here at the office. I'll wait for the chair, Councilor Drake, report next meeting. But in the meantime, the committee is a great and productive committee. We are so fortunate to have such great qualified members on this committee. On January 30th, I had the pleasure of attending the Premier's State of the Province address. I was fortunate to receive an invitation from Ignite to be at their table for the event. I have high hopes of our new government after listening to the Premier and 5 of our cabinet members that evening. There seem to be more positive hopes than negative ones. Hopefully we are not disappointed in the next 4 years. Fantastic evening. The Capital Region Service Commission monthly meeting on February 4th was more or less a mundane meeting, to say the least. All Service Commission committee meetings were canceled for December and January, except for the Audit Committee that I sit on. The audit draft will be available March the 18th for the year ending December 31st, 24. Someone move my report, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Brownlow, seconder. Seconded by Councilor Brewer. Any questions on the report? All those in favor? Contrary minded, if any, motion carried. We'll move on to new business. So we have a motion to approve first reading by title of bylaw A-4-1. And I'll have the person, yes.
So there's just a small typo slash math mistake under line 1.02. The amount there should be $10,794.
Okay. So if someone could make that motion, I'd have them read the title also in their motion. Councilor Brownlow, Deputy Mayor Brownlow.
Motion to approve first reading of title, first reading by title of bylaw A-4.1, a bylaw respecting the remuneration of council for Central York Rural Community.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder?
Second.
Second by Councilor Ennis. Any questions on this motion? I have a bit of comment, I guess. It's not so much with the way it's written. It's more or less to do with the budget. The budget was approved. It went over 3 times. Most of it line by line. I guess that's all I'll say on it. That's where I stand. As far as the way it's written as properly as it can be written. But staff put a lot of work in our budget, and I feel we're just going to setting the budget stuff aside. But that's my opinion, so that's all I'll say on it. Do you have any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? And I'll vote nay on it. Motion carried. So if we, we'll have our CAO read the entire document, we'll have someone make the motion, and then we'll have our CAO read it entirely.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Moved by Councillor Annis. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Forbes.
Bylaw number A-4.1, a bylaw respecting the remuneration of council for Central York Rural Community. Purpose, a bylaw of Central York Rural Community and the province of New Brunswick for the purpose of establishing the remuneration of council for Central York Rural Community. Whereas council for Central York Rural Community may make or amend bylaws pursuant to subsection 10, subsection 2 of the Local Governance Act, SMB 2017, C18, being enacted by the Council for Central York Rural Community as follows. 1, remuneration of the council. The mayor should be paid an annual salary of $20,560, the amount being payable in equal installments. The deputy mayor should be paid an annual salary of $10,794, the amount being payable in equal installments. Each councillor should be paid an annual salary of $3,840, the amount being payable in equal installments. Payment will be made through bi-weekly payroll on the first day of January 2026, and on the first day of January in each and every year thereafter. The salary set out in sections 1.01, 1.02, and 1.03 shall be adjusted by an amount equal to the average increase in the Consumer Price Index for New Brunswick recorded for the immediately preceding calendar year, not to exceed 3%. Repeal clause 2.01, bylaw A-4, a bylaw respecting the remuneration of council for Central York Rural Community is hereby repealed.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on this reading? I guess I have one further comment, and that's the lock-in of 3%, because I'm a little older than maybe some of you people, and I've seen inflation in double digits. I find that a little troubling. But anyway, that doesn't mean that can't be changed if we ever hit double-digit inflation, so. Like I've seen 18%.
I'll just comment on that then. I believe having a cap of 3% shows fiscal responsibility and predictability. I don't think anyone around this table or any elected official likes talking about this. But the fact of the matter is, yes, cost of living keeps increasing. That doesn't mean that our pay has to increase the amount of cost of living. So if it was double digits, at least there's a cap in there that saves us from not doing that. And I think that is a good thing.
Okay, any other?
If I may, the only comment I would make is, when I was going door to door during the election, in preparation for the election process, part of what I talked about was fiscal responsibility. And that's something that I do hold dear to my value system, is trying to be as fiscally responsible as I can with the assets that communities entrusted us with. And I think the 3%, even though it may not align with the CPI in given years, is a reasonable attempt to control those costs in order to keep the costs down for our residents, even though it's a minor part of the budget in one sense.
Okay. Any other comments? None? All those in favor?
Nay.
Contrary minded?
Nay.
Nay.
Can I have a count on that? Because it was more than one day, right?
Joe, Councilor Edwards and myself. Is there any other new business we have for this evening? Councilor Annis?
This is more just an expression of concern. Keswick Valley Fire and Keswick Ridge Fire had opportunity chimney fire on Gabriel Drive, and it had been after it had snowed, and we weren't exactly sure at first whether we could get our trucks down to the house or not. I have great concern over Archangel Way and Jackson Road and being able to access those properties if we have a significant storm event. As it was, the ambulance stopped on the hill going up Gabriel Drive, was unable to go any further. And I know it's not something we can address immediately, but I'm greatly concerned over fire response in that area, particularly during storm events.
They are our fire trucks, whereas the ambulance and DTI are not, but they're property of Central York.
We may not be able to take them down to a fire if the roads were much worse than what they were today.
Okay. Do you have a solution?
I wish I did. But I'm not sure the residents would be fully aware of the risk there, and I don't know what could be done to mitigate it unless some new road was built, or, I don't know. It's just a real problem, and I don't know what to say.
Okay, and now a point of clarification for Wayne too, it's not this necessarily the level of response for snow control from DTI, it's the fact that that hill is an extremely steep grade.
That's
And
right.
the snow combined with that makes that a particularly challenging area, like, we're quite used to in rural areas dealing with deep snow, but when you're on a steep incline with two-wheel drive fire trucks, ambulances and stuff, it becomes dangerous to the responders and dangerous to the bystanders.
I was in four-wheel drive low getting out of the car today.
I demonstrated the fire trucks because they are assets and property of Central York. They are under a road association, right, down in there?
It's my understanding, so.
Yes. So, I just wonder if the future of these people should be making fire provisions.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Would it be,
The garbage truck won't go down?
No.
would it be appropriate to write some kind of letter of concern to whoever manages the road? I don't know.
Maybe you need a long tow rope, if you look at any of those heavy trucks and things that get things out of weird places.
That's not gonna help us.
No, that's
What
what
about,
So, I'd like to hear our CAO's comment maybe on this.
How do I put this properly? To me, if you're gonna build a home there, you're accepting the responsibility or whatever's gonna happen in your environment. You know, you're spending that much money on a home, you gotta acknowledge that, you know what, we're not in a very safe space here. It's been there for years. There's nothing that the municipality can do to help them out. The road is the road, and a letter's not gonna save anybody.
So
We-
what would your aspect be on protecting Central York assets? Should the fire truck, if it's
This is-
impassable, should it go down there?
I would say, well, that's just it. How do you make that judgment call at that time? I guess it would just depend on the scenario. You know, because depending on what's happening at the time, you don't want your membership to be in danger. And obviously, there could be residents in danger, but they built those houses there, they have to take some responsibility for being there. That's the way I see it. I know that might sound harsh, but, you know, you can only control what you can control.
But you can get the truck
Hang
gone.
on, hang on. So maybe it's best left in the fire department, in the chief's
That's,
discretion?
I think that's the way that's been happening even before we took on the fire departments, you know, their discretion, but other than that, I don't know, what they can do there.
I'm thinking like kind of along the same lines as Duncan, there's not much we can do other than some of these road associations could have been told, and under previous LSD administration could have been told you'll have the same level of service as a C or D rated DOT road, and the residents that built down there may actually not be aware that they have a reduced level of service during a storm. And maybe that should be communicated to them formally in some way, I don't know who does that, but it's, I believe that that'll probably be the only approach, because they may not be aware that they are at a reduced level of service. They may choose to enhance their service on their own through their association, which we do not control, but at least if it was a DTI, D-rated road, it would of service would match that, but this is different, which I'm getting it that it is. It's, hard to say what they've been told.
The DGI doesn't plow the road, do they?
No, it's
I think so.
Yeah.
It would make it it would put our fire leadership under a lot of pressure if there was a structure fire down there during inclement weather, be it ice storm or significant snow event. I can't see our leadership saying no, but we would be putting our apparatus at risk moving down over that hill. Either one, Jackson Drive or the other one.
So what if
Just
they,
hang on, you had a question? Councilor Edwards?
Sure. I would think there's other places that might have had this problem, that it might be good to consult with some other areas in the province to see. But like I said, you could always get down, right? It's getting back up that you have to worry about.
Even getting down is not a safe bet.
It might not be down in the right fashion.
You could easily put it in the ditch.
right in the river?
So, Councilor Brewer?
My question is they're private down there, right? They're not plowed or anything like that. Maybe they should form an association looking into, I know this is expensive, but fire hydrants.
You still have to have equipment even in that case.
Well, you could slide down with it. No, I'm joking.
So we'll think about that until, you know, maybe it needs brought up again, but maybe the road association or the association they belong to should have some kind of formal notice that, you know, this bad scenarios, we might get a fire truck there.
Well, the other day was an active chimney fire, and chimney fires can, in our experience, start structure fires, and it would not have been a good day if it was a structure fire down there, given the conditions the other day. Thank you.
So the best method is discretion for the time being, right? The chief, the fire crew's discretion.
That's what I would say. It's, you know, they're the trained professionals, let them do their thing.
Right. Thank you. I have one thing in new business, and it's our rural planning committee. We've got it struck. It's Mayor, CAO, Councilor Downey, Councilor Brewer, Deputy Mayor Brownlow, Councilor Edwards, Councilor Annis, David Colbert, Matt Shepherd, Jamie Bird, and Wendy Brewer. And I'd like to have a motion that we accept this committee or reject it. Someone make that motion.
So move.
Moved by Councilor Forbes, do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Brownlow. Any questions on the committee? We're down one, but I think our CAO had a conversation with Ray Gab, right? And he still thought it was quite large, because there's two of them too, so that'll be, 13? So, anyway, any other question or comment? All those in favor? Contrary minded, if any? Motion carried. Do we have any other new business? If none, I'd like to have a motion to move into closed session.
I'll move.
Moved by Councilor Edwards, do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Annis. All those in favor?
Aye.